Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here, all right? Child, this episode was messy, honey. It was messy, but it was fun. Okay, I enjoyed it. I was entertained. But we got some things to discuss, all right? This is my review recap for Rap Shit Something for the Weekend, Season 1, Episode 5. Can we all agree that we already knew that Cliff was trash? Okay? That Shauna was not going to be moving to New York. And Cliff and Fatima definitely had some things going on. Can we all come together and agree on that? Okay, first and foremost. And Miss Jill thought she was slick. Okay, we had a little fraud alert going on up in here. If I could put some ear horns on right now, I would. Let's go ahead and get into this episode, y'all. So, of course, we know when we last saw them, they said they was going to take this trip to New York, okay? But we start out with Jill at Spotify. Now, Jill is giving her presentation, and their execs is not feeling it. They like, what is this? That's a no from me. Okay, go ahead and turn that off. And we have another guy that comes up behind her that basically is like, I heard these two girls. This is the sound I think y'all looking for. This is going to represent. And they like, all right, let us hear it. So when the song start playing, who is it other than, Miss Shauna and Mia? And all of a sudden, Jill want to talk about I know them. That's my peoples. That's my girl. And the guy ain't paying her no mind. He like, girl, this is my time, okay, to get my shine on. Like, sit your behind down somewhere, right? But nonetheless, she's basically like, this is a really, really good friend of mine. And so they like, okay, good. They like, as everybody else in the room was bopping to it, then Jill want to act like she bopping to it too. And talking about they still actually so good, aren't they? And she was like, I was going to pitch them, but I wanted them to have a few more songs. And so the other guy says, well, I already knew from when I first heard them. So they was like, thanks, guys. And here come Jill trying to get in on it and act like this was a part of her plan from the beginning, talking about thank you right along with the guy when he's saying thank you. And he looking like, damn well you wasn't a part of my team. We get Shauna and Mia on this first class flight, honey, okay? They got room for their legs, honey, all right? First class up in the sky. So they having a funky good time, and of course they gotta record every daggone thing they do. We already know that. So they busy, basically recording. They on live and they letting everybody know, like, yes, we up here, right? We doing our daggone thing. And they just basically like, bye, y'all, and clinking their little glasses together, all right? And so, like I said, of course, everything gotta be online. And then she checks Cliff's page and she basically says her story because she trying to surprise Cliff. Cliff don't even know she coming, okay? We got Mia twerking down the damn escalator and some other people shouting over at her, from the other side as they coming down. So she's basically like, asking her, well, what's up with this dude you supposed to be meeting up with, right? What's his story? You never really told me, because she was saying save your energy for your man. And she's like, girl, I'm strictly seducing and scheming, okay? Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm trying to empty those pockets, and that's about it. And she said he's just a rich white man, okay? And so she was like, his dick probably don't even work, and they laughing. So now first, Shauna, of course, is talking about a damn subway. But Mia was like, oh, no, boo, don't play with me. She was like, we ain't doing that. So it's a car that's been, set up and waiting for her. And she was like, this is how a bad bitch, leaves Miami and shows up in Queens. All right, that's how we do it. Watch and observe, okay? And so she gets in the car talking about some Jeffrey, make sure you get all my bags. Make sure you got them, don't forget them red bottoms. And she laughing and she was like, girl, subway, hell no, bitch, please. And they get in the car and they go ahead and ride on over here, so where they going. So Shauna basically, they showing Cliff with his friends at his apartment or whatever. Of course they in the living room where they always at playing they daggone game. And one of the guys is telling him like, You know, while you over there, make me a sandwich, okay, but no mayo because he vegan till Friday. And Cliff is like, listen, I ain't making you none of your weird ass sandwiches. Like, either you gonna eat what I'm eating or you ain't eating nothing. So Shauna calls him up like, oh, happy Friday. He like, yeah, I'm just chilling here with these fools. So at the same time, he's saying what's happening with you. And there's a knock at the door. So he like, hold on, somebody's knocking. Of course, who is it other than Shauna, right? She jumping on him. Surprise, all right. He's like, what the heck? They hugging and kissing, and the guys is like, yo, take that in the bedroom, all right? And they like, make sure y'all go ahead and spray with y'all nasty asses. So she's like, I missed you so much. I'm in the city. They telling them to get a room, like I said. So they go ahead in the back, because she was like, I want to show you some things. And the friend Jermaine was like, be careful with him, all right? So, they laid up in the bed. They ain't waste no time to get into what they need to get into. And he's saying he's sweaty. And she's like, yeah, because I put it on you. And he was like, no, you made me wait months. And she was like, I know, I'm so sorry, babe. And then she notices that one of her damn eyelashes then came off on him. And she like, oh, God, I paid too much money for these things for them to be sitting here falling apart. And so, he was telling her, like, well, as much as he's happy to see her, whatever, he still got some studying to do. He got a test on Monday. And she's like, okay, you ain't got to worry about that. Pull out them flashcards, all right? But in the meantime, in between time, I got some things I want to do, okay? And he basically, like, oh, okay, this is brand new. He also telling her that she looked different because she was like, why are you staring at me like that? He like, you got this new look. I'm not used to it. So now we get a flash to Miss Mia. She over here with champagne bottles everywhere. Okay, fruits, vegetables, all different type of food. Showing that beautiful view that she got in the background. She like, this is Big Willie style, honey. You got to get them for, 5 stars. And she's basically running through like, I made it. All right. And no, the old me can't even touch the new me. Okay. The new me is like, what I'm saying, bitches, I hate your guts. And rather the old me is saying that, and she said the new bitches saying suck my ass through a straw. So now we getting her, she getting massages, she going to this restaurant, that restaurant, they bringing her all different kind of meals. She like, some of this stuff I can't even freaking pronounce, or whatever the case may be, but she is enjoying it up. You can see such a big difference in the contrast between the places that she's going compared to, where Mia and Cliff is at, and the checks is coming, rather the receipts is coming, and she's saying how, your presence is the present, honey. You don't pay for nothing, you make sure that he is paying. But then when we see Mia, she's just like in this little diner, it's looking like with Cliff, they out on their date. She whip out her phone there, like, I gotta get me and Cliff first date out in New York, caught on tape as well, and we over here about to share this banana pudding. So, he was basically saying like, are you ready to make this permanent? And she was like, child, you really trying to get me out here in this freezing New York? And he says, well, you do look good in my puffy coats. And she was like, thank you. So, he said, well, what's the next plan for the group? She was like, honestly, I don't know. She was like, right now, I've kind of been in a different space. For the first time ever, I'm not overthinking things, and I actually like it, okay? And so she was like, it seems to be working. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. And he said, well, what was up with that night, that video you sent me, right? I guess she sent him a video while she was in the club, and she was like, oh, that night. She was like, what a night that was. She said, I was just zooted. And so you could see the look on Cliff's face, like he's just feeling like this is a different person. He don't know her type of vibe or whatever, right? So then he says, you ready? I'll get the check. And she telling him she already got it. He was like, oh, so you got money now? She was like, well, I wanted to treat you. She was like, this was my idea. I'm the one that popped up. So he was like, okay, fine. That's cool. He was like, tomorrow's on me. So they say, okay, and they still seem to be having a good vibe too. So now we get, Mia in the car, right, and driving back. Now, this mystery man, we never get to see him. We hearing his voice. He's recording. She's seeing how beautiful the scenery is looking or whatever. And, he started talking about wow, you look so amazing, put on a show for me, touch yourself, and all of this good stuff. And she's basically doing what he's telling her to do as they riding, right? And then when they get by the hotel, he's like, do you want me to come up? And she just basically says, nah, this liquor been hitting, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm just going to call it a night. I could see myself passing out or whatever. Like, in other words, she really wouldn't become, good company, right? I don't think Miss Mia wanted to be having no sex with this man. She just wanted to get what she wanted to get. But he says tomorrow they could probably go shopping. He could show her some more sites. So she was like, I like the sound of that. And he told her sleep well. So she go ahead and get out, and may I say, honey, like, first of all, them boots, baby, those boots before I had my freaking injury on my leg that I used to love to rock, and I loved the dress she had on with it. It looked really nice. So she go ahead upstairs and, trying to get herself relaxed. So we get back over to Miss Mia. Miss Mia over here, Miss Shauna, I should say, over here riding Cliff, okay? And they are enjoying themselves, and then all of a sudden she starts recording it. He was like, well, what are you doing? She was like, I'm trying to do something new for you, all right, and leave you a little something for you to be able to watch, okay? I'm making something for you. So he's enjoying this, and you could tell this not something he used to. He like, what? He like, okay. And she over here choking him, whatever have you. And we get to Mia. She's over here online, and she talking about how, we probably going to go see the Empire State Building. We going to go shopping. We going to be, you know what I'm saying, seeing all the different scenery, hanging out. She going to Chanel. And you seeing some of the comments say, I want to go shopping too. Somebody told her to come through to the Bronx, okay? Bring it down to the boogie down. And she was like, oh, you going to Chanel? Bring me back some earrings. She in this bubble bath recording that. Now, that's something I can't do. I don't be understanding, but it's people that really do it. And she's sipping, but then she hear the door open and shut. And they like, she's saying, hello, hello. Who is there? So now we don't never see who the heck it was coming in. I'm assuming it was old white boy. But the next thing you know, we see a call coming in to Shauna. And when she answers, Mia's looking all distressed, and she's like, what's going on? Are you busy? She was like, well, we are supposed to go to this brunch. And she was like, what's going on? And she basically tells her, like, I need to go somewhere. And Shauna asked her, what happened to your hotel? And she just looks, and then she's like, well, come to Cliff's and stay with us, right? And she was like, all right, where he's staying again? And, Shauna tells her she going to send her the address. She going to text her, basically it's Bed-Stuy. So, of course, you seeing Mia looking like she do not want to be bothered, all right? She is pissed that she got to be riding these daggone trains. You got some guy, of course, coming through talking about he got cancer, he lost his job due to COVID, singing this whole, sob story. And Mia turning her back on him like, please leave me alone. I do not want to be bothered. I don't want to hear your story. I done just went through whatever the heck it is that she done went through. And you see that the train is basically saying they can't move for a minute. So she's over it, right? And then as she's coming out, she get another text telling her to meet them at this brunch. So we see them at the brunch or whatever the case may be. And, they all saying how Cliff is always talking about her and he's so polite and all this different kind of stuff. And, they giving a little bit of a bougie vibe going on here, right? And then we see Miss Fatima show up, right? And so she's like all about to be like, hey, and then she sees Shauna. Oh, hi, Shauna. Cliff has told me so much about you. Hey, girl, nice to meet you. Yes, yes, yes. And she's like, congratulations as well. Cliff told me they played your song at the club. And so she's like, Shauna's saying, yes, they did. And she was like, well, you feel like that's a weight off your shoulders, right? And Shauna's like, what you mean? And she starts laughing and was like, well, I know how long you've been trying to do it. So obviously Cliff been talking a whole lot. So Mia comes walking up a couple seconds later, and they looking at her all funny style. She sit down. She was like, girl, I know it was a long ride. Let me get you some of this, some champagne, and let me give you some orange juice too. So when Mia sits down, she drinking down that champagne, honey, without taking a pause, a breath, or anything. So everybody at the table was looking. And then she was saying, like Mia was saying to them, why do y'all live here? Y'all know y'all have other options or whatever, right? And Cliff is telling her they can't share the flute or whatever the case may be, right? She have to have a separate one. So Mia's automatically like, oh yeah, you must be Cliff. And then, Sean is like, sorry guys, everyone meet Mia, everyone. And so Fatima was like, I get it. It takes a minute for the city to grow on you. And then, Fatima said that to Mia, right? And Mia saying, oh no, it won't grow on me. If it do, I would have to cut it off. And so they basically, Fatima starts blowing it up. Well, she didn't know she was blowing it up, but she just was running her damn mouth too much anyway, trying to be all in it. And is another example of how Cliff been telling all the business, because she says to Mia, like, how you gonna feel once Shauna moved here to New York? She was like, oh, and then Clip talking about she didn't tell you. And so that was a really awkward moment, and Shauna was just looking, and then Mia was like, no, she didn't, but I'm sure we'll work it out, right? And I like the fact that Mia didn't really go into it, and it ends up causing a daggone argument there or something like that. She was saying they would figure it out, because I felt like that's what Cliff wanted them to do. So Shauna gets a message, and she's like, holy shit. And she was like, girl, Jill invited us to the Spotify party. She was like, what? She said, yes, bitch. She was like, say less, let's go. All right, so now they done got invited to this party, and you could see again the look of disappointment and disgust on Cliff's face, right? Like, he don't want her to be spending time with Mia. He don't want her to be doing this rap thing, and he damn sure don't want her going to no Spotify party. So sure enough, when they get back to the house, you hearing them arguing. Mia's in the bathroom trying to get herself together and put her, little lashes on or whatever have you. And then, Shauna ends up coming in the bathroom and was, saying, because Cliff want to be saying to Shauna, like, oh, well, this is your last night and you want to spend it with other people and spend it with somebody else and all this stuff. And she was like, come on, like, when am I going to get an opportunity like this? We could go there as an open bar and we could just all party together. So he was like, fine, whatever. So now when she go in the bathroom with Shauna, Mia rather, she checking on her. And she's basically like, your makeup looks really good. And Mia's like, thank you. She was like, well, can you do mine, girl? Because these damn eyelashes keep coming off of me. And Mia was like, I was waiting for your ass to ask, okay? So, she got ahead and she do her makeup and they go out to this event. So when they get there, Jill, of course, is trying to play it off. She talking about some, oh, yeah, I hooked y'all up and, I done told my bosses about y'all and all this stuff. And they like, for real, they're super excited. Of course, they want Cliff to, get pictures of them and get videos of them on their little red carpet, okay, and with them walking in and making their entrance and all that stuff. And they like, oh, this shit is so swanky. And they looking around. So when Jill sees them, she's hugging them or whatever and giving me a hug. Oh, this must be, Mia. And she's like, y'all look so beautiful. She giving Cliff a big hug. Oh, God, it's so good to see you. And so, Mia saying thank you to her for hooking them up with this. And she's like, oh, yeah, of course, no problem. And so she was like, I'm so glad you guys could make it this weekend. And she was like, look, I was pitching y'all, so keep y'all fingers crossed. I feel good about it. As if she's the one that had this idea from the beginning. And it's like, we all know that she didn't, but okay. And so they like, for real, oh, wow, thank you. So she gives them 2 wristbands and she's like, all right, the third one, because, I guess Cliff was like extra last minute trying to make him feel included. He got a press pass. And they like, welcome to Spotify. So they go in, they looking around, they feeling the vibe. Of course, every minute Shauna's like, Cliff get this, Cliff get that. And he's just agitated, irritated, and over it at this point, okay? And he's like, Shauna, relax. I heard you, basically snapping at her. And she's like, okay. So, Jill tells her that she told one of the execs about her and that she want them to come over and meet her or whatever. And she basically was like, oh, for real. And they were saying how, this other guy was over there at this point and he was all rapping to her. And they was like, yeah, we could tell she do not like that, okay? And she don't even want to be bothered right now. And so, they're super excited or whatever the case may be. And they come back like, yes, we did that shit. We went over there. We met her. She was like in the vibe and we may be getting a playlist. So he is like, oh, congratulations. But you could tell it's coming off mad phony. Then when they go into this other part of the place, it's only for people with the wristbands, right? The ones that say press can't come in. So at first she was like, they being so extra or whatever, and she was gonna stay with him, but he was like, nah, go ahead, I'll be at the bar. She's like, you sure? He like, yeah, go ahead, do you. She said, can I have my phone? Because, most of the rest of the night, he had the phone and was taking the pictures for her. And you could see that he really ain't feeling it, but at the same time, he trying to be fake supportive. So, they meet up with this other rapper. They recording with her too and singing, they the upcoming and they just enjoying their whole vibe. And then Shauna says how, like, look, that's Sonny Howard, he's one of those big people that everybody in the music tries to get in with him. And they was like, wow, there's a lot of people there trying to talk to him. They'll be waiting forever. So, Shauna ends up getting a text and basically she's like, yo, I gotta leave for a minute. I gotta check on Cliff or whatever. And it look like it's a lot of people and we gonna be waiting for a good minute anyway. So just hold it down here and I'll be back. And she goes back to Cliff and he done moved to another spot. And she's like, well, what are you doing over here? And he's basically like, where's Mia? She's like, she's still upstairs. She met, they met Malibu Mitch. And so he's like, oh, okay. He was like, so you gonna go back? So she's like, no, I'm here. I'm gonna stay with you. What we drinking? He just like alcohol. You could tell he been going in for a minute. So then she goes, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, don't look. And he was like, what? She was like, that's Brent Fires. Oh my God, he's right behind us. And he's like, what? And she was like, Brent Fires, he's right behind us, like trying to whisper to him. So you see the guy asking her, like, have you checked this out? Do you know how to read these menus, what this is? And she was like, no, it looks like a science experiment. And he was like, that's what I'm saying. And he orders a whiskey sweet or whiskey neat, I should say. And she was telling him, good choice. So he was like, are you an artist? She was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, okay. She was like, I'm in a group. So he was like, word. He was like, all right, well, why don't you spit something for me? Then he was like, nah, I'm just messing with you. And she started laughing. She was like, I'm ready to. I got bars. So he was like, nah, I can't stand when people do that. Sing for me. Will you sing for me? She was like, I know that's so annoying. So he was like, I make music too, so I get that all the time. And she was like, oh, okay, you do? Then she was like, let me stop trying to pretend. I know who you are. I like your music. I'm a big fan. And he was like, oh, word, I appreciate you. She was like, for real. So she was like, I really don't want to be that person, but can I get some pics? So he was like, sure. So, she asked Cliff to take the pics, and you could tell again, he's with this attitude. He's getting mad. He really don't want to be doing this, but for some reason, Sean is just so caught up into the night. She's really not catching on to, these moods and these faces that Cliff is doing. So, again, she's just saying to him, like, we listen to your music all the time. We was listening to it when we was on our way over here. Like, I like you a lot and all of that. And, he's vibing with her. She's vibing with him. He's asking what's her favorite song. And she was telling him, I think, Skyline. And he was like, yeah, that's one of my faves that I did too. And he's like, thank you. It was nice meeting you. When they doing the different poses, he told her to do a prom pose. So in the midst of them talking and saying thank you and all of that, Cliff disappears. We don't see Cliff no more. We don't know where the hell Cliff went, right? And so finally she comes back up to where Mia's at, and she's like, girl, have you seen Cliff? She was like, I don't know where he went. I've been looking all over the damn place. Can't find him nowhere. So this girl bumps, Mia, and saying, excuse me. And she was like, what you said, ho? And she basically slapped the mess out of her, and the girl on the floor crying, and this other guy being mad extra talking about something. Yo, she hit her. She wasn't doing nothing. Call security, call the mayor, call Evans. I said, no, he didn't. So Shauna trying to calm her down, and Shauna's apologizing to the girl, and Mia saying to her, bitch, you over here apologizing to these motherfuckers? And she was like, girl, please breathe. She was like, no, you breathe. She was like, are you serious right now? She said, you asked me to come to New York and I came when no questions asked. And when everything goes down, I'm there for you or whatever the case may be. And so she was like, all you be doing is thinking about work, because Shauna was saying to her, like, this is a work event, which she is right. Like, you can't be sitting here starting no fights and trying to get, locked up in New York or whatever. But then, Mia says to her, you're supposed to have my back or whatever. And she was like, all you've been caring about is daggone work. She was like, I done been through some stuff this weekend and you didn't even ask me what I went through or whatever, right? Selfish as fuck. She was like, you didn't even care. And so I'm like, oh Lord, did that guy come in that hotel room and basically end up trying to attack her up in there? So as if things is not going bad enough, we got freaking Cliff drunk out his damn mind. We got him on live talking about, yeah, she about to come up now, prepared to bow, and in your feelings. Even his friend is telling him, hang that shit up. What are you doing? He's like, give me your phone. He even says, like, I'm gonna call your mom. Dead ass, you serious? He was like, I'm calling your mom and telling her to watch the live too. I would suggest you hang up. So now when Mia get upstairs, he got the door open already, and he laughing and he recording. He's like, here she is. And sorry y'all, keep messing up these names. Shauna is like, what is wrong with you? What are you doing? She was like, oh my God, you're wasted. She was like, yo, turn that off. And so she was like, are you recording? Stop, stop. And then he's like, no, I'm the cameraman. Remember, that's what I'm good for. That's what you want me for. I'm the cameraman. I'm making a documentary at every moment or whatever. And this is going to be our highlight reel. So he was like, can you please talk to all your fans or whatever? And Shauna's like, what are you talking about? Stop recording me. And he was like, hey, yo, ever since she got here, she ain't let me know she had me looking for apartments and different stuff like that. She made it seem like she was coming here to see me, but she wasn't. She really was coming to go to the Spotify party and to dick ride on brand fires or whatever. And he was like, yeah, hey, tell me the truth. Right. So of course she's standing here just looking at him like he freaking stupid. And he was like, tell the truth. That's what it was about. It seemed like you planned this shit. It was never about me. She was like, no, I came to see my damn boyfriend. That's what I planned. And he says, you left me. She was like, you left me, Cliff. She said, I've been your +1 for 3 years and you couldn't be mine for 3 hours. So he was like, oh, I don't even know who you are. You around here with fake eyelashes. You show up on my doorstep acting like a hood porn star. A hood porn star, y'all. And she was like, fuck you. And he was like, this don't fit. She told him, this don't fit into your 10-year plan. And she was like, get out my face. And he was like, oh, this ain't about Fatima. And you know that. And she was like, how is it not about her when you basically been doing pillow talk with her? Meanwhile, even Fatima's on the damn stream in the comments saying, Cliff, this is not you. What the hell? I said, well, I guess it is, Fatima. I guess this your wake up call too, boo. And you got somebody else in the comments that's saying Fatima is catching strays. He over here telling her you so insecure. She was like, I'm insecure. And she was like, look in the mirror, bro. You on live right now acting a fool, crying about Brent fucking fires. So she was like, you look stupid as hell. So he basically was like, your music is trash. She was like, the shit is trash. And he laughing or whatever. And she was like, well, if you feel that way, then maybe we shouldn't be together. And he starts laughing. And he was like, really? Y'all hear that? He was like, maybe we shouldn't be together. He was like, guess what? That's what I've been trying to say the last 10 minutes. I said, no, Cliff, the problem ain't her music is trash. The problem are you are trash, dude. And when they said Fatima was sketching strays, that made me laugh. I said, she sure is. Pop, pop, pop. Fatima was getting it too, so it looked like Cliff gonna end up being by his damn self. But nonetheless, she just looked at him after he told her that, and she was like, move. And she went ahead and walked out the door. And then his roommate made me laugh because he coming out talking about your mom's on the phone. She want to talk to you. She pissed as hell, okay, and she's stuttering right now. And so, you have Shauna get to the airport and Mia's already there, and she just was like, how do I always make a damn mess of things? What's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with me. She had brought her some cinnamon buns and was like, girl, this for you. And Mia basically was like, thank you. And Shauna starts crying and Mia pulls her over and is hugging her while she crying. And then Shauna tried to reach for Mia cinnamon buns that she gave her, and she reached and snatched that bag right back like, no, boo. Okay, you said it was for me. Like, no backseas, okay? And that's basically how the episode went off, y'all. So even though they had their little argument or whatever, they came back together, and now they are on their way, back to Miami. They getting up out of New York, honey. So the New York trip, didn't go as planned. But what y'all thought about this episode, y'all? All right, let's discuss. Put it all in the comments, what you liked, what you didn't like. Put some flames. Let me know you came by. Give me a wave. Say hey. All right, y'all. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Till next time. Toodaloo.